Hello, Francesca Ragucci here. I am back with another Sudden Courage video. This is Sudden Courage, Life After Near Death. So it's been over 2 months, about 2.5 months at this time. And I will say that I stalled a little bit on creating this video. My desire within myself is to put out a new video roughly month to date, which is the 14th, every single month. So I'm giving you a monthly update, let's say. However, this video was more difficult for me to have, let's say, discussion topics or really have an overall direction for the video. And the vibe of the video was easy at first to create the first Sudden Courage, where I was talking about the event and those sudden reactions and how I was feeling and some thoughts that I ran through. Even week to date and 1 month was easier for me to discuss progress and just get into feelings and thoughts. And now I'm in a place that is more difficult for me to just talk about, which is extremely normal for this PTSD and near-death type of experience. So I'm choosing to put this video out today and to talk today and just say how I feel and the thoughts that are just coming to my mind about this experience, just to continue to be transparent with you and open to use YouTube and wherever you're watching this video as an open platform for you to learn, for me to engage with you, whether you are an advocate of my business, whether you are a friend or a family member or someone who has PTSD and wants to learn more about an experience to relate to. So a little backstory. If you go to Sudden Courage, the original one, I talk more in detail about the actual event. I'm going to give you an abbreviated version. However, if you're new to the Sudden Courage series, I encourage you to watch all the videos in order so you're more up to date with the experience and it clarifies some information. However, if you want to stay on this video and then go to Sudden Courage 1 and watch them all in order, I so welcome you to stay and watch the video. So an abbreviated version of this story is on December 14th, 2019. I was driving to gymnastics on a dreary Saturday morning. The roads were rather wet out. As I was turning onto an exit, I felt my car speeding up instead of slowing it down as I was pumping the brakes. What happened was the car intently sped up. It spun 180, hit a hill on the side of the road and flipped over. And as I was in my car driving it, I had the music on. Everything was, as per typical with me driving a car. Both hands on the wheel, feet planted on the floor, seatbelt on. And I just felt so scared. I was frozen in fear, especially after I realized that this car is going to take its own course. And the best for me is just to sit there and let this event play out and finish. And as I was driving the car sped up. I was frozen in fear. A lot of my sensory is shut down. And all I could do was see. These 5 questions went into my mind. The 5 questions are: what impact did I make? What legacy did I leave? Am I going to survive? Am I going to die? And is this it for me? Is this how I'm going to leave the earth and leave this body? So as my car was flipping in the air, I instantly saw white. It crashed down, made a very loud noise, and my survival instincts in that moment had come out really it's those couple seconds, not a moment. It was likely to be a couple second event. However, time had slowed down tremendously for me in that moment. And when the car landed, it was completely upside down. I was upside down. Like, if you're sitting in a driver's seat in the car, even in a seat in the car, imagine being upside down. That's how I was. I was planted on the seat with the seatbelt on. I opened the driver's side door, opened the seatbelt, and I crawled out of the car. Gratefully, a couple had seen the event and helped call police and get that taken care of. So that's a short version of the event. I will continue to briefly start the video with explaining the event for those of you who are new, and also every time preface you to watch these videos in order. Your experience supporting me or supporting yourself with PTSD is going to help you, and even life after near death is going to help you tremendously by watching these videos in chronological order. So here I am 2.5 months later, approximately. In limbo, right? So some days for me are better than others. And it's not just driving. So I'm going to take you through like every piece so you can understand what life is like for me now. So driving. Some drives are great. Some drives are not. I am in Philadelphia right now, and honestly, we had a really good winter. We had actually very little snow. There may have been one day where snow stuck to the ground, but it was like a light dusting. So as far as driving in inclement weather, it's definitely scary for me. However, this winter in Philadelphia was easier for me to experience, especially after this event. So I'm super grateful that the weather was in my favor a little bit more. Weather is definitely triggering for me. I could also be driving on a Sunday where the sun is out and be completely in panic. So sometimes it's weather conditions, sometimes it may be my mood for the day, or it may just be an instant flashback that comes to my mind that causes me to panic behind the wheel and start to get anxiety. So it could be any motion from changing lanes to going over bridges and overpasses, or to even having cars drive by me where I feel like I'm in a closed space, more of a claustrophobic type of sense. That actual drive, I repeat every Saturday when I go to gymnastics. Gymnastics is hard for me still. Some weeks are better than others, simply because it's a repeat of the experience in the day. One of the things I'm learning as a result of being in therapy with a really great therapist now for over 2 months is my athleticism in gymnastics in some of the moves has not been as good as it used to be before the event. I said this to my therapist. I said it was almost after the event and after coming back to gymnastics, I had a couple weeks where I felt like this superhuman tumbler, and I was tumbling so well for easy 2 or 3 weeks. I was tumbling, I was performing more back handsprings in a row. It was really easy for me, and then all of a sudden, I literally felt like I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't even do a round off back handspring at all. Not on the trampoline, tumble track trampoline, or on the floor. It just left me. I could still do a back handspring on the trampoline. I could do handstands and other moves, but it was something about the running tumbling, which for me, I cherish so much, because one of the reasons why I went back to gymnastics is to get over the fear of running tumbling, and to be in the state where a year ago I started to accomplish running tumbling and build on to more complicated or skilled tumbling passes. And now I'm in this place where I can't tumble without a spot. Like that's literally where I am. I'm progressing, I'm getting a little bit better at it, but I'm now back to a place where I was doing a round off 4 back handsprings on the floor, and now I'm getting a spot for a round off 1 back handspring. And that's it feels debilitating. It feels I feel handicapped. It's bad. It's a bad feeling to know that I once had something and this experience took it away from me. So that's something that I'm grappling with in every single class, which instantly is just annoying, and is easy to throw off my mood in the class. Which is also causing me to feel unsafe in the class in general, is not to do with the people or the coach who's been amazing. It's just, I think everything at one time, it's extremely overwhelming. And sometimes it hits me more than others, where I have to stop tumbling. I need to leave the class and take a break. I will cry. I will get emotional, which I am extremely emotional, especially ever since the event. Emotional in regards to like having moments where I'm super happy or courageous, where I'm angry, where I'm really sad, or where I just feel overwhelmed and even isolation. The real reason why I lost my tumbling or the ability to do it, and my therapist helped me come to, I guess, a clarity with this where I feel at ease about it, is because the running tumbling, she's saying, is more of a connector to the event. And what happened was, I'm noticing myself disengage in some of the activities that I once really loved, and tumbling was one of them. And it's hard now for me to have the skill to instantaneously go in and run tumble like I used to, because it's too close to the event and it's causing me a lot of fear, which is very true. It's causing me a lot of anxiety and fear to tumble by myself, though I know that eventually I hope to get back to where I used to be. But it's also about being patient with myself in this process and being okay with getting a spot and being okay with focusing on other moves whilst I heal. Gymnastics is very much a trigger overall for me, and it's so closely related to the event because that's where I was going, that it's easy for me to have a complete, fall apart completely in the class. So that's that. Some other more recent reactions, I fall asleep at concerts. That's newer for me. So what happens is the 2 concerts that I've been to since the event, I'm getting so tired, I cannot get myself out of it. And what's happening is when I sit still for a very long period of time, let's say if I sit still for over 15 minutes and I'm not as engaged, like if I'm sitting at a table talking to people, I'm not falling asleep. But if I'm just sitting and I'm watching something, I start to fall asleep. And I'm not really going to bed. It's called freeze. I'm going into a mode called freeze. There's fight, flight, and freeze. So right now, my brain is in survival mode, constantly protecting me, and it's taking me into what I like to call it a preservation state. It's preserving my body. It doesn't feel like I'm taking a nap because I don't nap at all. However, I can be sitting at a concert, completely engaged with the concert, but even though I'm sitting still for a really long time, my brain is instantly wanting to protect me. So concerts are incredibly hard for me at this time. I've been to 2, and I'm not looking forward to going to the next one, to be quite honest, because now it's giving me a lot of apprehension, because I may very well literally miss half the concert. Like one moment I could be super engaged with the concert, and then for the rest of the concert, I'm basically falling asleep. I didn't fall asleep fully because I would not allow myself, and I had the will to stay awake. However, I guarantee if I fell asleep, if I had just let myself go to sleep, I would have. The other thing is, which my therapist is helping me with, is how to navigate public reactions, which me falling asleep at the concert is a public reaction because my body thinks I'm in a safe enough place for it to help me survive in that moment. However, my conscious mind and my soul does not feel safe to fall asleep at a concert where mostly it's easy to say everyone else is awake. It's harder for me to sort of be open about having public reactions because they happen. Now, as of now, I've been to one party, which the party I was at, I was more delirious because it happened the party was the day of the event. So I was still in this limbo phase where I'm like, did this happen? What's happened? What's going on? As far as being around people are around me here and there, maybe 10 minutes here, a couple hours there. But it may be a short amount of time where it's easy for me to hide, or it's easy for me to have a more minor reaction that's less revealing as being something that's off as far as my personality. It's easy for me to wait till somebody leaves a room to have a reaction, and I'm finding that I feel safe when I react and no one's around, because it's hard for me in that moment to discern what's going on, because a lot of times I really don't know. So one of the things my therapist is helping me with is how to navigate the public, how to navigate being in a party with a lot of people at one time for hours, maybe over an hour, maybe 2 or 3 hours, where I'm in this place and I'm wavering or something is making me react, and I'm going into these moments of demonstrating emotion, and my brain is reacting in different ways to save my life where I'm really safe. It's hard to discern for my brain to say, you're safe, this is not a real thing, versus I'm literally about to die and my brain needs to save me. So I'm experiencing a lot of moments where my brain is saving me, and it's in the brain because I'm learning the physiological element of post-traumatic stress disorder and recovering from trauma experiences. So I'll explain more of that maybe in future videos when I have more of an understanding of it, because it's all so new. Another reaction is likely sudden noises. So for me, sudden noises are really bad, especially when I'm in super quiet places. So when I'm at the gym or gymnastics and there are naturally noises around, it's a little bit better. But when I'm in a quiet zone like my office or house or just somewhere quiet, and a sudden noise happens, a phone drops, a bird may peck the window, it scares me to pieces. I'm so scared in that moment. But when before, I may just look over and be like, what is that? Or I may just not even look at it. Whereas now, if a squirrel comes to the window and knocks on the window, it scares me into extreme fear, basically, which is a result of PTSD. I get nervous when someone's phone rings suddenly or a phone vibrates, and a lot of times we call it a fire alarm. So it's like my alarm goes off. That's like sensory, danger, 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 get out of here, get out of here. And when that happens, I don't just fall back down to my baseline. It may take me a few days from someone's phone vibrating to get back into like a baseline normalcy, kind of feeling more comfortable or at ease, to be quite honest, because something so minor can be a really big trigger for me. Like someone talking about someone else dying is an extremely bad trigger. I don't want to engage in those types of conversations. They're not healthy for me. I'm having bad reactions. I don't care for it, to be honest. So I have to, that's something with a therapist of like, trauma on the television with someone suddenly passing who's younger, or in conversation where someone talks about another person dying or someone else having a car accident or trauma to the brain. I'm extremely sensitive to that. And at this time, I have no desire to engage in those types of conversations. And my therapist is helping me have strategies or tools to navigate conversation or events, or when I'm in situations. Is it healthier for me to, have different types of strategies and see what's best for me? Sometimes I may need to leave the building for a period of time, whether it's a building or a house. I may need to just step out of the room or politely leave the conversation, because what can happen is it may be a little minor of a trigger where it's a little bit of a setback, but I can emotionally get myself back together within a shorter period of time, but there are times where if conversation or a noise or certain sounds, if it gets to be at a too much of a level where it becomes extreme for me, and this has happened, it's taken me a week to come down from that. Like I cried because of someone saying something to me, and it took me an entire week to emotionally level out. That doesn't mean I was crying every time someone said something to me, but that was within my inner system, and I felt so off for such a long time, and it took me a long time to get back down to my base, is what we call it. So it's base, which right now I'm at base, right? I'm feeling good. Nothing is triggering me in this video. But if something happens, I can instantaneously go into this fight, flight, or freeze mode, which is my fire alarm. And we're looking to, in the process of recovery, to be able to return to my new base, which, because of the traumatic event, the base that I had, let's say on December 13th, is no longer my base because of this traumatic event. My base is now at a different place, and that's within my brain. So I'm gonna get, I'm easily startled now. Like if someone comes up to me and says my name, I may get scared. And that's happened before. Someone comes up behind me and says my name or taps me on the shoulder, I get legitimately scared. Whereas before I would just get like a little startled, like who's tapping on my shoulder? Now I'm wanting to run for cover when someone taps on my shoulder because it's too intense for me. Okay, so I revealed a lot in this video. Anything else? One of the things that's super useful for me is just continuing to watch videos and research. This is a lifelong journey, and I only told you a part of it. I didn't even go about, this could be in another video where I talk about all the idealisms that I once believed about, quote, life or this life experience are different. Belief systems, spirituality has changed. And that could be another video because I could make this 1 hour if I go into that. So research is super helpful. I like to consistently engage in articles for as long as, again, if I'm engaging in articles too long, it may be a trigger where it takes me a few days to come down. But, I think that's just what it is for me right now. So I'll watch videos and I'll engage in article content for as long as I feel comfortable. It helps me. It also helps when I'm in a situation where I'm going to be with someone new for 6 hours, because we're hanging out for the day. And I may need to tell this person that they're going to see different behaviors from me than what is typical from myself before. And being able to have an open dialogue about this experience with someone who's maybe around me for a little bit longer in a day, and also how to, partnerships, romance, those areas, like how to tell that, how do I tell this partner of mine who's going to be my partner or I'm going to be their partner, how do I tell them about this? How do I go through, have them support me in a healthy way? Because a romantic partner is someone who surrounds you the most, honestly, some of the most, outside of, let's say, people you work with or friends or family. They're the most intimate person with you. So especially with someone who, asked me to be their partner, like a man who asked me to be his partner or dates me or something. And for me, I want to engage with the therapist, and she'll help me have strategies or ways of bringing it up in conversation and having it be more of a comfortable place for me where I can feel safe and protected and, support from that individual while they're with me, because they are aware of my senses and my new life experience. Another thing I wanted to leave in this video before we sign out for the day is there was a specific song playing in the car. So this goes along with triggers. So there was a specific song playing in the car. I have no clue who sings the song or what the song's name is. It was a rap song that's, you know, it's rap. It's not hip hop. It was like a hardcore rap type of song on the radio. And I have yet to hear that song, but that's one of the things that if that song came on, it can be a really bad trigger for me. It's not something I listen to because I don't know what the song is. But it's something that if the song comes on, you know, I may need to have a strategy for surviving through the song, or it may just be too intense for me to live through because the entire event's going to repeat in my head. It's going to be too intense for me to stay in the room with that song. So there may be some triggers where it's going to be more like, how do I survive this while it's happening? And have strategies and tools to help me stay in the room or stay there or survive that moment. Or there may be some triggers where it may just be better for my mental health to avoid or leave the room or distract myself with something else instead of like withstanding it and having to survive the experience and potentially walking away with my mental health being out of whack or overwhelmed and shook up for a week or a very long period of time because of that. So working through this, experiencing everything fully, living a new life, understanding who I am today, what my ideals are, as well as my belief systems, which are honestly a lot of my belief systems, which we'll go into in the next video. I'm more certain about everything right now. All the things that I questioned before, like certainty came to me after. So thank you for watching this Sudden Courage Life After Near Death. I encourage you to leave a comment in this video. Leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, watch the entire Sudden Courage series because it'll help you relate and be an advocate and support. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.